Welcome back to Spa Business Mastery Podcast. I am Kirsten Foss, and with me today is Delia Taylor, and today is Spa Marketing with Delia. And today's topic is, what is your marketing working? And here's how to tell. All right, let's get started because, in the spa industry, most of us came up the ranks as service providers, not digital marketers. So we like to share a lot about kind of the how-tos and kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and show you how things work behind the scenes, because there's a lot of avoidance when it comes to marketing, even though spas know they should be doing it. So let's dive in and let's talk about it. Delia, do you want to get started?
Sure. Yeah, we want to talk about, like Kristen said, there's lots of info about marketing. But what we end up doing is, we kind of put our marketing together, and whether you're following podcasts and going through our guidance and steps that we've given, a lot of times, you do the marketing or you don't do the marketing, but you do the marketing and then you don't check and see if it's working, right? So it's not enough to feel like it's working. It's kind of this in our heads that, oh yeah, I got a client out of that, or this post is doing really well, or this email, whatever, but it's not enough to feel like it's working. You have to know why it's working, and you have to know what's happening so that you can continually, revamp, optimize, and repeat what is working, and realize what isn't and shift your focus on what is working.
Well, and I think it's really easy in the spa industry because we're a bunch of people that have lots of feels. It's part of how, how we interact with our business. It's all about making people feel good. And because we're typically not a data-driven industry, we tend to default to our perceptions rather than looking at data to give us the actual facts. And so I think that, I hear, in groups from coaching clients that, somebody will say, I need to get more clients in the door. I need to somehow get my existing clients to spend more. How do I do that? And then somebody will suggest email marketing, and they'll say right away, that didn't work for me. I tried it.
Right.
Yet we know, because we know we know all the little pieces of it. We know that they likely tried something, it didn't work, and they threw the baby out with the bathwater.
Well, we like to call it, you have to have enough time to actually know if something's going to work. So we like to call it, throwing the spaghetti at the wall and seeing if it's going to stick. And oftentimes we'll try something and it doesn't stick, and we toss it out with bathwater.
But we try it once, maybe we try it twice, but because we know spa owners are they're really busy with the guest experience and all of that, the education of their treatments and all that kind of stuff, it's difficult to,
put your analytics hat on.
or even to find kind of put your detective hat on and go searching for things. You may not even know what to search for. So today's podcast is all about what you should be looking for in your digital marketing so that you can pair perception with actual facts so that you can make better decisions in your marketing. Because when your marketing is working and you keep, letting go of the stuff that doesn't work and keep doing the stuff that does work, which is business, right? Test, try, tweak, test, try, tweak. Then that's how you get long-term growth out of your marketing.
Yeah. And, you can look at this like your services, right? You probably have a list of services on your spa menu, and you have some services that are constantly booked. And maybe you have those, kind of ones that are kind of sitting there in the archive. You do them, but nobody's really booking them. There's likely a reason for that. And so it's kind of same as your digital marketing goes. So if you have things that aren't working, then you have to know why, and you have to know what is working so that, you can keep those expectations for your marketing in check.
Absolutely. All right. So we want to share the benchmarks for the three most popular types of marketing that most spas engage in. And that is email marketing, social media marketing, and website marketing. So we're going to share what the beauty industry benchmarks are for these. And then we're also going to share with you what we get with our digital marketing clients, because it's really important to see where it can actually go when it's done with strategy and with a lot of, high level strategy, as well as looking at the analytics, tweaking it for the next month, looking at the analytics again to see how that went, ditching what kind of really didn't perform, and then tweaking it again. So we want to make sure you also can see the potential for your digital marketing efforts. So Delia, let's start with email benchmarks.
Email marketing. Okay. So, I mean, there's a couple of benchmarks that we definitely want to be looking at. And one of them is your open rate. So this is how many people you have on your email list that you've sent your email to, and then the percentage of those that actually opened the email and read it. And so in the beauty industry, spa and wellness industry, the average open rate is just over 16%, 16 and a half, 16.6%.
I just want to stop you right here for a second, because I do see a lot of chatter, spa owner groups about these open rates. And if you don't know anything about email marketing and open rates, please, please, please hear that, like, do not expect like 100% open rate or 80%, or even, we get closer to 50 with some of our clients, but please manage your expectations. That's why we want you to know the industry average, so that you're not, putting time and energy into your email marketing, seeing that you get 16, maybe 18%, and then thinking, oh my God, this sucks. I put so much energy into it and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You're actually ahead of you're ahead.
Well, and here's the thing. So, I mean, every industry has their own benchmarks, and it's just, saturation, et cetera. But I'd say average open rate just across, kind of email marketing in general is, 20%. Spa industry is a little bit lower, just we've got a lot going, we got a lot of spas happening and lots of people doing lots of good things. So, you're going to have a little bit of a lower rate there. But if you compare it to, the industry average, and you're above average, like Kristen said, we're, our open rates for the clients that we do email marketing for, they can range anywhere from 30 to 50%. And I'd say that ours are, pretty high, but we do have a lot of high level strategy that, gets put into all of that. So that's the open rate benchmark, 16.6%. And then we've also got our click-through rate. So when you have your email marketing, you've got your call to action. So those are your buttons that you want your clients to click and take action as to what you're asking them to do. So whether it be to, read the blog, or you've got a special going on that you want them to click through and book. So it's really important to track those click-through rates, because it's going to tell you, again, out of those people who opened those emails, how many of them are engaged and taking action to what you're offering.
And so like, this is really about, like, you're wondering, like, I guess there's a couple of pieces in here in terms of strategy, but if they've opened your email and nobody's clicking through, it's a flag in your marketing to say, I'm wondering if the offer isn't actually, the clients don't actually want the offer, they're not interested, or maybe I didn't write it well enough, or I didn't explain it well enough. So there are reasons why your click-through rates will be lower and higher, not necessarily because the service is good or bad,
right,
or the product is good or bad. There's other kind of qualifiers for why people.
Yeah. It may just be that the messaging is not exactly tapping into what the clients are looking for. So anyways, you can, so benchmarks for the beauty industry for the click-through rates, 1.92% is average.
It seems low, doesn't it?
It seems low, but it's not. That's not actually low. Our clients, we get a fairly good open rate consistently. And so ours are anywhere between 2 and 5%. I'd say minimally they're 2%. I'd say that would be on our low end. But we average 3 to 5, I'd say, for the most part. So, look at your benchmarks, see where you're at, see if they compare to the beauty industry. If they do, that's great. If you're finding that they're maybe a little bit low, there's a couple of other things that are happening as well. So Kristen, do you want to talk about the iOS a bit?
Yeah. So with the latest iOS update, if you're an Apple user, or any of your clients are Apple users, the latest update basically allows people to not be tracked for opening emails. And so what's happening all across the board, like not just our industry, but all email marketing across the board, is that your open rates are going to be skewed because it's just can't track a certain percentage of data.
Yeah,
So,
those who have opted out. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, so those of that have opted out of that iOS option to be tracked. So what we suggest and so what you'll notice is that your open rates are going to be lower than they were. Don't panic. It's not you. It's Apple. So the way to kind of compare apples to apples is to just go back in the last year of your email marketing to see what your average open rate is. And you can probably, it's probably pretty safe to say that you're going to stay around there unless, maybe you're learning how to write copy better for your email marketing. Then I would say it would probably go up from there.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's good. The other thing that you also want to look at for email marketing is your unsubscribes and bounce rates. So unsubscribes, you're always going to get people who are going to unsubscribe. And so most of us say, oh my goodness, I lost 2 or 3 subscribers. It's not a panic at all. It's okay. Maybe you've got, maybe you've just started, maybe you've revamped your email marketing and you just hit the gas again and you haven't emailed for a while. You're going to probably get some of those, clients who maybe weren't engaged with you before. They're gonna fall off your list. So it's okay. But
don't panic and think that, oh my God, 2 people opted out of my list.
Yeah,
I can't do email marketing anymore. No, it's normal, and we actually, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
That whoever is unsubscribing isn't really connected and is not your ideal client. So you're better off having a smaller email list with people who know, like, and trust you than you are having a huge email list. It's not about that number.
Yeah. And what that's going to do, what that's going to do is if you have that very targeted list and everybody's engaged in your list and you don't have people who are dormant, it's actually going to help with your open rates. It's going to help with your click-through rates because you've got that kind of niche audience there that is really interested in what you have. So if you're noticing a ton of unsubscribes, which you really shouldn't, there's maybe something going on there. But I haven't seen, a huge amount of unsubscribes. So we just want to make sure that if you get a couple, it's totally normal. It can happen. Every email that you send out, it's okay. The other part that you want to look at, and if most of you would be using a email marketing platform, is that it will show you the bounce rates. And so the bounce rates are email addresses that don't send the message through to. So it bounces back, right? Yeah, it's not delivered. So you've got soft bounces and you've got hard bounces. We won't get into all of that, but a hard bounce basically means that, that email address is either no longer, it's incorrect, and it's never going to deliver. Soft bounces are just more so, it has nothing to do with you or anything like that, or the email address. It's more so to do with the client and whether there's different factors. Maybe their email is full or something, so it'll do a little soft bounce and it'll keep trying again. If your bounce rates are really high, then you probably don't have a list that is accurate. So
it's time to clean up that list.
Exactly.
All right. So, okay. So that's email marketing and the benchmarks and what you should be aiming for. So make sure if you haven't already, or if you're not already taking notes in your phone while you're listening to this, grab a piece of paper and write them down. The other thing, we just wanted to make sure that you know where to find these benchmarks. So if most of you are probably sending from MailChimp or Vagero or Constant Contact, those kinds of platforms. And whenever you go into the platform, usually you go to campaigns, and then all of the sent campaigns usually have their metrics, kind of like a quick view right in there, especially for open rate and click-through rate. You'd probably have to click on the campaign to see bounce rates and unsubscribes. So that's where you find them. All right. So let's talk about social media management or social media benchmarks, because that's a huge piece in the spa industry that we know you guys put a lot of effort and energy into it. And we want to make sure you guys know that it's working or not working, so you can make those decisions to change.
It's a noisy platform, right? So there's a lot that goes on there, and you want to make sure that what effort you're putting into is actually giving you the results that you're looking for. So so one of the number one benchmark for social media that you should be measuring is the engagement rate. And this is how many people are engaged with your content. So are they liking, they're commenting, they're saving, they're sharing, etc. So engagement rate is always needed to be measured. And surprisingly, we just want to share what Sephora has. So they've got, what was it, 4
let's share what the actual engagement rate benchmark is first.
Right. So the engagement rate benchmark, right, of course, wouldn't make sense to share you Sephora's if you don't know what it is. So engagement rate benchmark in the beauty industry is less than 1%. I think it's like 0.62 or something, 0.63.
And you know what? I think a lot of spas will be like, what?
Yes. That's okay, but that's average. And really what it is, again, it goes back to your email list. If they're engaged, you're going to get better open rates. If you have an engaged social media audience that, aren't bot followers or, aren't just random people who wouldn't do business with you anyways, it will tank your engagement. You want those active people who are interested in your brand taking action on what you're doing. And so the beauty industry, again, because it's very saturated, there's a lot going on, especially on social media, it's going to be a bit lower. And so under 1%. So now, Sephora, they've got quite a large following. They're like 4.2 million or something like that around there. Anyways, they have a 0.03% engagement rate, which is shocking, quite honestly, for a big company. So I'd like to dive into
that. We can speculate why that is, but here's one caveat that we want to make sure you, dear spa owner, understand is messing up your engagement rate. And that is doing follow for follows with other spas.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it on your business account. Follow other spas, support them from a personal account. You are absolutely tanking your engagement rate by having other spa owners or solos, teams, doesn't matter, follow you, because they're never going to buy from you, that they're not your ideal client. So I totally get that this is about supporting each other and we want to do that, but please do it from your personal account. And if you don't have a personal account, especially like with Instagram, for example, you should. You need to split up your business and your personal accounts. So, and that's one really big reason why, is because you're building, it doesn't matter how many followers you have, it, they took that vanity metric away. It matters about
it's quality over quantity is really what it comes down to. And you want those high value clients because they're the ones that are going to engage with you.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, if you're putting all this time and energy into content, the whole purpose of it is to drive them to your link in bio that clicks the link and takes them to your website to book services. So let's just keep our eye on the prize when it comes to social media. And let's keep our lists really clean with potential consumers. That will actually
and it's okay to go through your list. You want to do a list audit on your Instagram, go through it, every quarter or whatever, and unfollow or remove people that aren't going to serve your business well. And like Kristen said, follow them on your personal page if that's what you want to do. So what else have we got? So as far as I want
to share what our engagement rate is for our social media clients, because we're really proud of this.
We're really proud. We really are. We work hard.
Okay, so the benchmark is less than 1%. Sephora is getting 0.03% engagement. And what are we getting for our lovely clients for social media management?
Well, our engagement is pretty great. I'd have to brag. I'm going to brag here. We're at about 8%. So I know it's 8% seems low, but in comparison to the industry average benchmark, our clients are definitely seeing that engagement happening.
We want to give a shout out to our social media managers on our team, because it's the copy that they're writing. It's the hashtags that they're using, it's the engagement outreach that they're doing. And of course, Delia does all the high level strategy for each month anyway. So it all starts there. All right, let's talk about the next benchmark for social media management.
Yeah, so that's your audience growth rate benchmark. So we talked about the audience. You want to make sure that you have an engaged audience. And so the average growth rate benchmark for our industry is about 2 to 3%, and that would be on a monthly growth rate average. And so this is organic growth as well. So you have to remember that if you do any paid ads, you're likely going to get a higher growth rate. But for organic growth on your list is about 2 to 3% monthly. And then for our clients, we get, again, I'll brag, but we're about a 3 to 8% growth rate each month consistently for our clients.
Yeah.
And then anything else you wanted to add to that, Kristen?
No. It's more just like, some people, like we've actually had potential clients come to us, asking for, okay, I want to add 500 clients in a month. And our answer is always, well, unless you're ready to throw some money at a like campaign, not going to happen with organic social media management.
Exactly. Good.
It's an impossible. Okay. So that's slow. It seems slow and low, but that's what it is.
But slow and steady wins the race, right? So if you have money to put ads, go for it. But you'd also want to make sure that your social media is well organized, well running, because if you're driving people to your social media page, then you want to make sure that it is on par with what you're offering. So the next social media benchmark is stories. And so, stories are a great way to reach your audience, reach additional people. Reels are good for that as well with Instagram. But stories completion rate. So if you're on your stories, you can see the little icon at the bottom of your phone or your tablet, whatever you're on, and it will show you how many people have seen the stories. And so if you open that up, expand it a little bit more, it will actually tell you how many people watched your story from start to finish. And so we call that the completion rate. And so the industry average for completion rate, people watching it all the way through, is about 75%. We are getting in our clients, I'd say on average, we're hitting the 85 to 95% benchmark on a regular basis. And so people are fully watching all of our stories. You also want to pay attention to the replies. So, you put those engagement stickers on there. You can have the question sticker. There's the slider sticker, polls, etc. You can even, ask the Skin Pro, those types of question boxes. So that's what you want to pay attention to. How many people on your stories, when you're using those tactics, are replying? So there's not really a benchmark for it specifically, concrete benchmark, but what you want to do is you want to pay attention to it. So if you're constantly putting those types of engagement stories out there and you're wanting people to take action and they're not, then you have to go and kind of think about maybe why. Maybe you're not asking the right questions, or
there's something going on with the strategy.
Yeah, there's something going on. So just pay attention to how many people are replying. You'll get a good handful of replies if you've really got, an engagement story going out. But if you're consistently seeing that you're not getting any replies back, it's probably time to go back and re-strategize what it is that.
And then it's kind of it's because there's no benchmark. It's pay attention and then tweak and improve, and just kind of, it's basically a kind of a competition against yourself.
Yes,
really
exactly. Yeah. And then the other part that you want to watch out for in your stories, pay attention to, is how many people exit. So they haven't completed the story. You've probably likely done this yourself, where you're watching a story, it's not that interesting for you. You either exit out of it or you skip forward, right? So you want to pay attention for high drop-off rates when that happens. Again, that means that your audience that is seeing what you've put out there isn't as engaged as maybe you were hoping for, and they're not interested as much as what you're putting out there. So
I do notice, like, even just for myself, if somebody has a ton of stories, like, they should have actually made it a video clip and put it into an IGTV, like the video. But when it's like 10, 15 stories strung together, I'm like, tap, 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 tap. Yeah. Can you put it that needs to go in a different format. Maybe have a couple and then drive them to your
IGTV.
But that's a quick way of people like tapping forward and not completing. It's just too long to go through.
Yeah. You got to remember, people have a short attention span, 7 seconds, give them something that they can consume in that amount of time. So those are your benchmarks for social media, engagement rate, audience growth rate, and stories.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. So the last platform we want to talk about is your website and website benchmarks to watch for. So the first one is, most people are paying attention to this, maybe not know what to do about it. And that is to be on page 1 and slot 1 or 2 of your Google ranking. If you're not kind of listing 1 and 2, and listing 1 and 2 is actually down lower on the page because you've got ads at the top, right? Yeah. So page 1 is actually kind of short because of the ads.
Page 1 is half the page, really.
Yeah, if you're not on page 1 and listing 1 or 2, you kind of tend to get bumped to the next page and you just don't get noticed. People typically, think about your own search, skincare in Victoria, BC. I usually go in and search. I'll change my search parameters if I'm not seeing it on page 1. So Google ranking is huge. That has to do with your search engine optimization, SEO. And I think we've actually done at least one podcast, if not more, about SEO marketing. So we're not going to dig into that. I think most of the industry knows that they should be on page 1 in order to get noticed. So,
well, and the reason why people click on those page 1 and 2 is, or listing 1 and 2 is, it's easy, but they also know for the most part that these are probably the top level, the top shelf sites, right? Based on your search results, Google has ranked them high for value, for information, etc. And so most people go to them because Google's saying, hey, this is
the most clicked
here you go,
or company. So that really, we'll talk about what you need to do if you're not ranking on 1 or 2. Essentially, we want to give you some tips what might not be happening if any of these benchmarks are not being hit. So Google ranking is number 1. The second part for website benchmarks is your bounce rate. Now you'll need to go into your Google Analytics for this to see your bounce rate. And I think if you have a Google My Business listing, I believe every month I get a snapshot of the month before of my metrics, and it usually has my bounce rate on there. And bounce rate means like somebody comes to your website, and if they bounce off quickly, that is your bounce rate, and your website tracks that kind of stuff. So if you have a 26, so the excellent bounce rate is 26 to 40% of the people coming onto your site.
And you want people, like they're measuring, you want people, it's site stickiness. You want them to stick on your site when they get there. If they bounce off, it's because they're likely not finding what they're looking for, or your site is too slow and they don't have the patience to wait.
And actually, and this was actually one of my problems with my previous website that had been kind of edited over the years, is that my homepage was kind of a bit of a hot mess. It wasn't as strategic as it could be. And so in order to kind of take people from the homepage and move them to other relevant pages, I didn't have some really solid strategy in there at the time. And so my bounce rate was really high because they'd come to my homepage and I didn't have enough information to keep them on. So, so yeah, you want to watch your bounce rate. Okay, so 26 to 40% is excellent. 41 to 55% is pretty much average for most websites. This isn't spa industry specific. This is just everybody. And 56 to 70% is higher than average. So if you're on the higher than average, then it's time to talk to your web person or hire a web person in terms of website strategy, because something is kind of funky there. The other thing that I like to track from my website is referrals. And that means, so when you get to the referrals part in Google Analytics, it will tell you where people are coming from when they land on your site. So whether they're coming from Facebook, Instagram, an email, or a direct search on social media. Okay, so so that's your website benchmarks, your Google ranking, your bounce rates, and your referrals. I mean, there's tons of other metrics to pay attention to. But I think for the purpose of talking to spa owners, we need to kind of make it a little bit more simplified so that you understand why this is an issue and why you need to take action on it. All right, so let's talk about if you're not hitting these benchmarks, what's the problem? I think essentially what it comes down to is that you've got a content and communication problem. And so that starts on when you start unraveling that, that looks like your content isn't connecting with consumers. So whether that it's a disconnected strategy for your content, maybe you're only selling in your emails and not actually doing any kind of education. So people get tired of being sold to. People love buying, they hate being sold to. So that's why my next point here is maybe you've got poor copywriting. That's totally normal for the spa industry. I mean, you folks got into this to give treatments and work with people in a different way, not to be a great copywriter. So we totally understand that. Sometimes often in the spa industry, it's their copy on their website, their email, their social media. It's just the dots aren't connecting for clients and consumers. And then the other issue with your content is that maybe you don't have enough educational content in there. Another issue with if you're not hitting your benchmarks could be that your formatting is kind of funky and it's difficult to read in an email. Like you've got a wall of text, in social media post, wall of text on your website. People just click off. People don't want to read. It needs to be visually enticing. And finally, you most likely need some SEO support and service description improvements on your website. So that's part of that. Service descriptions is part of that, getting better at your copywriting.
Yeah. And, I'd say add to that, needing SEO and service description improvements. You probably need a little bit of formatting strategy as far as how your website's laid out as well. Because that, like Kristen said, with her website, her old website, the homepage kind of became, a bit of that wall of text that we're referring to. And, and that was just over the years of adding more, more info and, new and improved revamped website has that strategy piece to it. So it's important.
And so maybe you need to talk to your website person about having literally a website makeover. Look at the homepage. Okay, what needs to be fixed up in here? What needs to be fixed up in our about? What needs to be fixed up in our service descriptions? And that is a project to work on to get everything, more aligned with, your branding, and more aligned with kind of where you are right now with your services and your offers. Because we know over the years things that can change a lot. And when you're adding bits of copy here and there over the years, there is very easy to have a disconnect for consumers. It's just like, huh?
Yeah, we just did a big strategy revamp for one of our clients for their website as well. So it's looking very pretty and definitely.
But it takes time.
Oh,
it takes time, not only to implement all those changes, but it takes time to work on the strategy for each page. Like you and I met and worked on strategy together for each of those pages to make sure that it was as it should be, and that we weren't missing anything.
And even then we were like, oh no, gotta move that back up there.
Even then there's
move things around. Another viewing session.
Okay, so we've spent a lot of time talking about benchmarks. This particular podcast is very much about giving you the understanding to do better at your digital marketing. And maybe all three of these things, email, social media, and website, you're like, oh dear God, I have a lot of work to do. Just pick one, just get started. All right.
Yeah.
So watching your benchmarks, watching your metrics and comparing your benchmarks allows you to keep your marketing expectations in check. It allows you to work on the stuff that should be worked on rather than having busy work, creating
that's not working.
That's, stuff that isn't technically part of that strategy. The other piece about that is, as far as when you are able to make better decisions with your marketing, you spend less time on strategy, you spend less time on implementation. I mean, implementation is a lot of work, as you know, Delia.
Yeah, I spend most of my days with implementation and and strategy. Yeah. And so I just wanted to, better decisions always, because when you know what's working, what's not working, then again, you have a better idea of what you can do. And, like Kristen said, you spend less time on strategy and implementation. And then as a result, it starts earning you more bookings and sales when you continually, keep working on the tactics that are working. Because really and truly, I think we all know the saying, like, you can't hit a target that you can't see. And so, we talked about, we have these numbers that we think is in our head, but when you actually look at the metrics, you have to be able to see what's working so that you can make those choices.
Absolutely.
Because if, and we talked about the perception, if all you're going on is perception, then you're likely missing some key opportunities for your long-term spa growth.
Yep. That's what it all comes down to. And that's why we're here, is to shine a light on some of the aspects of spa business, and in particular when Delia's on, and spa marketing, so that you can work smarter, not harder, because we know how exhausting this industry can be as a spa owner, as a spa leader. So it's super important that we do pay attention to how we can work smarter and not harder. So if you've been listening to this and you realize you need some support because this is not in your wheelhouse, then please reach out to us. We're actually full for social media management at the moment. We are taking a wait list if you wanted to put your name down for that. But we still have room for email marketing. I have connections with website developers for Squarespace, for WordPress, for Shopify. So I work with those people in terms of spa strategy, and then we work together on implementing it on your particular website. So if any of this is frustrating you and you want to know how to outsource it or how you can do it better, then please reach out to us. You can email myself, Kirsten@kirstenfoss.com, or you can head to our website, kirstenfoss.com, under digital marketing. And there's lots of information out in there. And if you wanted to book a call with us to have a quick chat, it's like no pressure to sign up for anything. It's just talk about your business and get to know you and your business and what you need, and give you some initial direction of where we think that you could go with it. There's a form on that page, and you can fill it out, and it'll send you out some information and a PDF of FAQs for our digital marketing, and also gives you the opportunity to book a get acquainted call with us. All right, that's it for Delia and I for today's Spa Business Mastery, Spa Marketing with Delia. Thanks, Delia, for joining us again this month.
Thank you. You're welcome.
And Delia will be back next month talking about more spa digital marketing.
Yeah. And if there's anything that you guys are interested in, topic wise, let us know, because we definitely want to tap into what your struggles are and what you need more info on. So
absolutely. All right. Yeah. All right. Thanks, folks. We'll see you next time.
Bye.